Hi, so I recently attended a family barbecue thing, which we have annually, so we can all get together and have a bit of fun. Usually the whole family is spread out in different states, so this is the one time of the year that we all get together on my grandma's birthday. And every single year, without fail, my cousin just annoys me to his best. I'm 28 female, he's 32 male, and he has always been the meanest. This whole thing is on my mom's side of the family, and she is the third of four siblings. She has one older brother, one older sister, and a younger brother. All of them have children, and most of them are around my age, in their late 20s or mid 30s, and I get along well with most of them. There's eight of us. My eldest uncle has three sons. My eldest aunt has one son, Nathan. Then there's me and my sister from my mom, and lastly, the twins from my youngest uncle. So it's quite a big family, and all of us are very friendly with each other because we basically grew up together. And even though now we have our own lives and everything, it's still the same whenever we meet. Unfortunately, that means that Nathan, my eldest aunt's only son, is also just as annoying as he used to be when we were kids. Except the only difference now is that it's not light-hearted teasing anymore. That was easy to ignore when we were children. It's just straight up humiliation. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that he's an only child, but he has always been the most spoiled of all of us. He always got whatever he wanted, and even growing up, he was a bit of a show-off, and I have no qualms in saying this. But he was my least favorite cousin. I would complain about him all the time because he was always picking on me, and I've always been the easiest target for him, and quite possibly his favorite person to bully, because right from my childhood I was always the easiest to push around. The thing is, even though I was not the youngest, because the twins are younger than me, I was still definitely the smallest. I was a very scrawny kid with glasses and braces, exactly the kind of kid you pick on in middle school, and I guess that somehow stuck with him. Even after the glasses and the braces came off, he would still treat me the same way, even as we grew up into teenagers and then into adults. Whenever we would meet, he would constantly pick on my appearance, make fun of small things I didn't even feel insecure about. But after he pointed it out, I would feel weird, and then it would turn into insults about my career, kind of car I drove, kind of clothes I wore. It was just annoying, and over the past couple of years, he's just been totally insufferable. As a kid, I used to complain to my parents, and they would tell me to just ignore it or give it to him right back because they did not want to get involved in these petty things. As a teenager, I would talk to my sister and my other cousins about it, and they would agree that he was being very weird and they would intervene and tell him to stop. But as an adult, I felt like I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I would just smile and brush it off, even though it would bother me a little bit. But I never said anything about it because honestly, it's never been part of my nature to be a confrontational person. Besides, I would only see him once a year on the barbecue day, so if it was just once a year, I felt like I could bear with it and let it go. That's exactly what I've been doing for the past couple of years, even though it just never ends. And I guess part of the reason that I never brought it up was because I don't want to give him the satisfaction of letting him know that he got to me, because I knew that was exactly what he would want, that he would want to write me up, and I did not want to let him see that he could get under my skin by saying all these mean things. So yeah, anyway, even this year, a couple of days back, I went to the barbecue thing, and this time he brought his fiancée with him. Everybody knows that he's been dating this girl, let's call her Diana, for the past 2 years. They got engaged a few months ago, so he brought her to the family barbecue, and she was very nice. She and I spoke a little, and she seems to be quite the opposite of Nathan. She was very shy, seemed to be quite introverted, soft-spoken, and I couldn't understand how she ended up with Nathan, who is very loud and boisterous and all that. For whatever reason, I also had this feeling that she didn't really want to be here because she seemed to be very awkward. But I thought that maybe it was just her feeling weirded out about being around so many people that she didn't know. I can get jittery around new people as well, so I decided to give her company and we spent most of our time together. We got along really well. It was actually quite surprising for me because I had never thought that I would get along so well with Nathan's partner, since I thought that she would be like him as well. But she was not. And we discovered that we actually had a lot of common interests. And we just kept on talking, and it was like one of those instances when you just click with somebody and you know that you guys are going to be very good friends in future. So anyway, we were chatting and suddenly we started talking about our love lives and everything. Actually, she's the one who asked me if I had a boyfriend or if I was seeing anybody or not. And I told her that right now I was not really interested in seeing anybody, and Nathan happened to overhear it, and obviously, because I said something like that, he felt that it would be physically impossible for him to restrain himself from making a hurtful and snide comment about me. So as soon as he heard me saying that I was not really interested in anything, he started to say that I was lying. And that can't have been the case for so long because, as far as he knew, I had been using the same excuse for the past 3 years now. And that's true, but the only thing is, I look at it as the truth, not an excuse. I really don't have time for relationships right now, and neither do I have the emotional capacity for it. I had a pretty bad heartbreak a couple of years back, and that's why I haven't been looking for anything for a while. But of course, Nathan had to turn it into something to make fun of me for. He said that the only reason I was single for the past 3 years was because I was too broke for love. And that was evident from the kind of clothes that I wore, the kind of car that I drove, and my general appearance, which just screamed how desperately I needed to get a makeover so that somebody could find me attractive enough to date. And that, according to him, was the real reason that I was single right now, because I couldn't find any dates because of how I looked and how I was in general. Obviously, nobody heard that because everybody was having their own conversation and everything. But I heard it, and it really stung, especially because I don't really think that I was looking that bad. I thought I looked perfectly fine. It's true, I hardly ever wear makeup. I don't have my nails done, and I have a pretty normal haircut, nothing fancy. It's also true that I drive a very ordinary car and I don't have all the coolest and trendiest clothes, but I don't see anything wrong with it. This is just who I am as a person, and the fact that he's been picking on me for this for ages just now really bothers me. But again, I didn't want to make a whole thing out of it and ruin the evening, so I said nothing and I let him laugh at his own stupid jokes. But beside me, I could see that his girlfriend was really shocked, and Diana looked at me with an expression that clearly asked why I didn't say something. I tried to dismiss it, saying that it was nothing and that this is how he generally is with me. So I don't mind that much because I guess that's his idea of being funny. And I let it slide and change the topic. But after that, I could tell that Diana was put out for the rest of the evening, and she even left earlier than Nathan, saying that she had a headache and wanted to get back to the hotel. Personally, I did not think that had anything to do with me, but I guess I should have known, because actually it was right after the little incident between me and Nathan that she went extremely quiet. Anyway, back then, I did not see the signs, but now I guess it's more obvious in hindsight. How awkward she was the whole time, and like I said, how it felt like she didn't even want to be there. And I picked up on that energy, and I guess I was right because just this morning I found out from my parents and also my aunt, Nathan's mom, that Diana has decided to break off their engagement. And she has gone back home, even though she was supposed to stay here for a week longer and get to know other members of the family. But she has decided she doesn't want to be here with him anymore. And she says that a big part of it is because of me and how Nathan treated me at the barbecue, and the fact that it happens to be how he is with me in general, according to what I said. Now, my aunt did not directly blame me or anything, but she did ask me what I said, and I told her whatever I mentioned above, that Nathan usually treats me like this, and that's his idea of humor. And that's his idea of humor, which is exactly what I said to Diana. And my aunt said that I could have said something better not to make it seem like Nathan was a bad person. She said that she was not blaming me, but her tone was pretty accusatory, and now I don't know what to do. My parents have spoken to me as well. They have made it very clear that Diana was pretty clear about what she said, and that there were a lot of reasons that she did not want to go through with the wedding and the engagement and everything. But the incident with me was definitely the catalyst for the breakup. But thankfully, my parents are not blaming me, and they don't even think that I had anything to do with it, because if Nathan had just kept his mouth shut, maybe none of this would have happened. Only if he had been a decent person. Anyway, Nathan is obviously blaming me, and he has not bothered to hide the fact at all. All of us cousins have a group chat, and he has sent a bunch of screenshots of his most recent conversation with Diana, but he is trying to get her back. But she has basically blocked him after saying a bunch of things that she thought was fundamentally wrong about him and the way he treated me that day. And he, like his mother, thinks that I should have said something more tactful instead of being so careless and saying that this is how he is, making it seem like he's a rude, bullying kind of person, even though to me, he's honestly always been like that. Nobody's been replying to him in the group, and my sister has told me not to bother replying to him either, because the best way to deal with the situation is just not to engage with him. In the group, he's been ranting about what I said, saying that I misconstrued the situation, and that all this while the way he's treated me is only his way of expressing his love for me, and it's not his fault that I didn't understand it. He says that I need not have victimized myself like that in front of his fiancée because it made him look bad, and he wants me to say something to Diana to make her change her mind because he thinks that that's something I can control. But honestly, if he had really read those screenshots from the perspective of somebody outside the situation, he would have known that it was not just me. And even I can tell, even though I have known Diana for a very short time. In fact, even my sister agrees that there was definitely pre-existing problems between them, because that's what we got from her side of the chats, from the screenshots that Nathan himself had sent in the group. Yes, she definitely said that what I had said to her that day was a matter of concern, and the fact that she had seen a totally new side of him while he was talking to me, that was another thing. And the fact that this was something regular that I had gotten used to was also not a good sign for her. She said that she and I were very similar. She got that much from talking to me. Both of us were simple people, and we were soft and easygoing, non-confrontational. And she knew that if he could treat me like that, there was nothing stopping him from treating her like that in the future either. And I have to say, that was a pretty good point she made. There really wasn't. The fact that he loves her now and he doesn't treat her like that is something. But who's to say that it wouldn't change? I think it's a good decision that she made, but also Alongside that, there were a few hints in those chats that made me and my sister think that maybe she had been strong-armed into saying yes to his proposal. Several times she had dropped hints in the chat which felt like she was trying to say that she had already not been sure, but he had been the one to convince her that they were ready for marriage because they had been together for 2 years. She had already been having a lot of second thoughts about the whole thing, and she felt like she had been pressured into it when she was not ready yet. And she had only said yes to make sure that he was happy. And though she wanted to be with him, she couldn't possibly in good conscience continue this relationship if it meant that she would have to get married to him ASAP, because that's not what she wanted. She told him that she wants something different from life at this point in time, and she's not sure if they are right for each other, and that's what she said last before breaking up with him and blocking him, because after that, none of his chats would go through. And of course, he's blaming that on me. And he wants me to talk to her and fix things somehow. Obviously, I feel kind of bad, and regardless of what everybody has been telling me, I do feel slightly responsible. So I guess what I really want to ask you guys is AITA for being the catalyst for the breakup between my least favorite cousin and his fiance? Update 1. Hi, so it's been a week since I posted here, and a lot of people had a lot to say, mostly positive things. So for that, I'm very thankful. I am truly grateful to everybody who commented on my post and let me know that I have no reason to feel guilty because I am not responsible for this situation at all. At the end of the day, it was Nathan himself who ruined things with his girlfriend by revealing his true colors in front of her. And it's a good thing that he did so, because it helped her escape this relationship that was bound to get toxic for her. If she was anything like me, it really helped me calm my mind, because if even strangers on the internet believed that I had not done anything wrong, then they were probably right, because this was an objective opinion. It was not like my parents and my sister telling me that I had no reason to worry because they might still be biased in my favor. But yes, this really helped a lot, and I'm very grateful. It's been a couple of days since I left every group that I was added to, which had him in it, including the one with all us cousins, but I didn't want anything to have to do with him. So far, I had just been ignoring him, but he kept insisting I needed to talk to Diana. He kept telling me that I had to fix things in my inbox in groups, basically everywhere that he could. So I decided to block him for good, and I removed myself from every group that he was present in, because I just don't need that kind of thing. Plus, I feel like I have been non-confrontational for quite a while, but now that kind of thing is not going to work for me anymore, and now it's time to take a stand. In the past couple of years, I have been careful never to drag anybody into any of this, including my parents. I did not complain to anybody because I thought it was childish, but I think now I've earned the right to say something. Even earlier, I should have said something, to be very honest, but I was trying to be mature and deal with this on my own, which I don't care about doing now. So, when my cousins told me to rejoin the group, I told them that I was not going to do any such thing, because Nathan had bothered me enough, and I was not going to allow him to have any access to me anymore. They had been polite, so I was also polite, and thankfully we did not get into a fight or anything. They told me they understood, but they didn't want to get dragged into any of this, so they were just going to create a different group with me in it. They also told me that deep down, of course, they agreed with me, and they know that I'm not in the wrong here and Nathan is. But at the end of the day, if they say something, then they and their parents are going to be dragged into all of this. And I really don't want that. And honestly, I understand. So as long as they're not telling me to offer for anything, as long as they are aware of the fact that I am in the right here, I'm cool. I don't need anybody else to fight my battles for me. The fact that they support me is good enough. I've also blocked my aunt, Nathan's mother, and for good measure, his dad too, even though he hasn't said anything yet. Of course, my aunt was very upset when she saw that I had left all the family groups and said that it was taking things too far, and I could have just solved the whole thing by helping Nathan out instead of being so rude about the whole thing. That's what she had to say to me after everything, so honestly, I don't see any reason to keep her around either. In fact, I think part of the reason why Nathan has turned out like this is because she never bothered to correct him. Honestly, I don't remember her ever taking a stand against him, telling him that he couldn't say things like that, even as a child. Obviously, as an adult, I can't blame her entirely because he should have learned something on his own growing up, but he didn't. He just thought that he could say whatever he wanted to, do as he pleases, and he would always get away with it. He's about to learn differently now. Update 2. So it's been a week and a half since my previous update, and things have been going pretty well for me. Ever since I blocked Nathan and his parents, obviously, nobody has been able to reach out to me. Nobody else is talking to me about it, so I've been able to pretty much put it out of my head altogether. That is, until today. And don't worry, nothing bad happened. Actually, it was a pleasant thing because I received a message from Diana. She didn't have my number, so she reached out to me on social media and she left me a message saying she would like to get on a chat with me as soon as possible and left her number in that message. She said that she had certain things to say to me that she felt would be better discussed on a phone call rather than in a message, which would feel very impersonal, and most preferably she would like to meet me. Honestly, when I received that message, I considered not replying to her and not engaging at all, because I didn't want to get into trouble with Nathan or whatever. But then I realized I don't really care. Why should I snub somebody who's been nothing but perfectly nice to me so far just because I think it might not sit right with him? So I decided to call her and told her that I was free after work and we could get some coffee at a place near my house and have a little chat about whatever she wanted to talk to me about. She seemed perfectly happy with that and agreed. And after I wrapped up work, I headed to the coffee place and she was already there. She looked very worried and everything, and I really didn't know what was going on. And then she started apologizing profusely to me as soon as I was seated. I was very confused. So I had to ask her to slow down and explain, and that's when she told me that earlier that day she had gone over to Nathan's place to collect her things, and obviously he had tried to stop her and talk to her. He was being very insistent that I had made up everything and that it was just playful, loving banter, but I always took it as bullying, and that's why it came off differently than it was supposed to. He tried to explain to her that I was just oversensitive, and he was not actually the kind of person that I had made him out to be. He was totally clueless to the fact that whatever had happened with me was just the last straw, and that Diana had already been considering being with him before that. She tried to say that to him, but he was not having it, and he kept saying that he knew it was because of me that she was leaving him. And then he started getting angry and ranting about me, saying that I was just an attention seeker, and I was probably very happy after having created such a huge issue out of nothing. He said that he was glad that I had left all the family groups after he had exposed me and my sympathy-seeking strategies, because that's exactly what I should have done a long time ago. Run away out of shame instead of confronting the situation. And when she heard that I had left all the family groups out of shame and guilt, she started to get concerned because she thought that was really what happened. So that's why she wanted to talk to me, because she didn't think that her saying that the incident with me had led her introspecting and deciding to break up would lead to something like this and create so many problems for me. And that's why she had been apologizing to me. So I had to explain everything to her. And I told her he had got everything wrong and I had left the group Because I did not want anything to do with it anymore, because I felt ashamed or guilty of anything at all. I told her she had done the right thing and she truly deserved better. And after that, we had a long discussion about how he had not deserved any of the chances he got, especially from me, because I had always believed that if I kept my head down and simply avoided him, he was going to leave me alone. But he only took that as an incentive to pick on me even more. And she also confirmed everything I had been speculating about their relationship, that she had definitely been strong armed into saying yes to marriage by him, because he just kept insisting on it for weeks. She had initially decided that she was not ready yet because she felt like there were certain things about him that she couldn't deal with in the long term. And she had been right, because judging by his behavior now, she definitely wouldn't have wanted to be stuck in a marriage with him. Because by nature, she's quite non-confrontational and quiet, just like me. And she probably wouldn't have been able to handle all of this. We had a long chat about all of that, and then I went home and it was actually pretty nice to meet her, and we left as friends. Update 3. So, hey, it's been 3 years since my previous update, and a lot of things have changed. First and foremost, I would just like to let you guys know that I recently got engaged after being in a relationship for 2 years. Funnily enough, I'm engaged to Diana's brother. She and I became very good friends eventually. And 2 years ago, she invited me to a Christmas party she was hosting, and that's where I met her brother. He and I hit it off instantly. We exchanged numbers, and since then, there has been no turning back. I love him. So when he asked me to marry him a couple of days ago, it was a no-brainer for me. And I instantly said yes. We have already been living together for 6 months, and I think this is the perfect time. My family is thrilled, and so are all my cousins. Well, of course, with the exception of Nathan. He and his parents, shortly after I had blocked all of them, told the rest of the family that they had to pick sides, and that if I was going to be present at the other family events, then they had no interest in being in touch. Obviously, the rest of the family made it very clear that they did not want to get dragged into any of this, and they were definitely not going to cut me off. But if Nathan and his parents felt so strongly about all of it, then they were free to walk away. And since then, they've not been present at any of the family barbecues. They don't keep in touch. And yeah, they've been pretty much cut off. That's never really affected me. And in fact, I think it's better this way. Obviously, my mom and her siblings miss Nathan's mom a lot. But at the end of the day, it is her choice to walk away from the family. So, whatever. Anyway, they made it perfectly clear that they were not happy about what was happening with me and Diana's brother, because they've been posting about people having no family loyalty or values recently. I'm guessing that's for me, but I don't really care. I'm happy. And they are still bitter and resentful, so I think I'm winning here, to be honest. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.